Hello, I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl who looked good.
G'day, ballers, and welcome to the Baller BBL SuperCoach podcast. My name's Jono, filling in for Matt tonight, who's doing a big drive from Sydney to Melbourne. I'm the coach of the Fickle Bickles, and with me to talk about all the biggest news as we head into the next round of BBL SuperCoach is the man, the myth, the legend. It's the coach of Myth on the Myth. How you going, mate?
Geez, that's a very nice introduction. I'll take that.
Well, I don't know. I was going to say one of the brightest minds in BBL SuperCoach, but you were talking yourself down in the green room pre-pod. Feeling a little bit low on confidence, mate.
Oh, it just hasn't been my season. Swings and roundabouts through a big bash season. Sometimes it's going to hit, sometimes it's going to miss. And I think with the way the season started, there's a few people maybe that hasn't been able to be on the right foot.
Now, can I ask you, this might be a stupid question. There might be a really obvious answer. Your team name, Myth on the. Is there like a really obvious joke that I'm missing in this?
It was a phrase coined by Realm during the NRL season where he was referencing it in comparison to maybe being kissed on the and wearing that. So,
okay. So I guess with the luck you've had so far, it probably hasn't quite panned out that name.
Yeah, this team name's not getting a second run. I can tell you that much.
Give us a general overview. So obviously you're feeling a little bit down the dumps. I think you were coming into the 1500s as we came into this round. And as it stands, you feel like you're having a pretty par round. Worth mentioning, we are recording before the Melbourne Derby of the Stars and the Renegades is even finished, where we're recording as the Renegades are looking pretty comfortable against the Stars. But how do you feel like you're tracking?
Yeah, I'm probably a little bit off par. No Sammy Harper. If you told me before the season you're not going to pick up Sammy Harper and he's going to kill you on two separate rounds, I would have said, "What have you smoked?" before talking to me. He's been really, really good. He's played really, really well, and not owning him has hurt both times. And yeah, a little bit fortunate his first innings this time, getting caught by Weepkin for him to fall over the boundary rope, and just scraped to 20 this time around. So he's done
got
very
that
well
little boost in the run rate.
Yeah. People will be enjoying his price rise.
It's frustrating. And I made the decision I was telling you about. I went Rogers instead of getting Harper in. I made the decision to hold Wildermuth and spend down and get Rogers, thinking, he could take him on over 2 games or at least get close. And for anyone else who had that Rogers plan, just hasn't worked out at all.
Nah, a lot of these stars haven't worked out too well. I think Rogers is probably pretty close to Maxwell at this point in time. Yeah,
Maxie, hopefully not too many had the visa on him because they're obviously going to have to go that captaincy option coming in the last game. I imagine a lot of people looking at Connolly or Short coming into that one. But look, before we discuss a lot of the things coming out of this round and into round 6, just a couple of plugs for our prize league. The round 4 leader was Kyle J, the coach of Schmick. He was leading by 22. And the baller boffin himself, Curry, down to 3rd place. He's the man who does all the baller projections. So if you are getting on and looking at those baller projections, you know you're in safe hands when the man who's in charge of it is doing so well this year. Please make sure that you're following us on all the socials. Every little bit of engagement, following, commenting, liking our stuff is massive and very, very helpful in helping us to find the right people. You can search Baller SuperCoach. That's BALLR SuperCoach on YouTube and TikTok. And I don't know if you've seen me, the Baller TikTok. It's back up and running after some technical difficulties. It is back and looking to be bigger and better than ever. So please do get in and give us your support because that was always a really good one for community engagement.
It's everything these days, isn't it? Everything's on TikTok and Ballers as well and producing some good stuff.
Yep, Grams, you're doing a good job, our producer. And if you're not a part of the Baller Discord, it is fantastic. It gets you so much last-minute information, completely free to join. All you need to do is go to the website, ballr.live/Discord, and follow the links, and you'll be in a matter of seconds chatting with Myth, chatting with Maddie, our other expert. You will occasionally get some vibes out of Tubes, and I'm in there usually asking questions as opposed to offering any advice, and it seems to be helping. I'm having a decent year so far. So, look, the biggest thing I want to talk about tonight, Myth, and I'm sure you're the same, we're heading into round 6. We have the Sixers on the double for this round. We also have the Canes heading into the bye, but worth remembering that the Canes then have a double in round 7 when they come back, as do Adelaide have the double as well. Yeah, the Strikers have it for round 7 as well. So that is obviously worth noting for anyone listening when they're making their trade plans. My big question for you, Myth, we like to use the term heaven and earth guys at Baller. And these are the guys that when you're coming into a week, whether it be NRL, AFL, BBL, these are the guys that you have to move heaven and earth to get into your team. Myth, who do you have as the heaven and earth Sixers guys, the absolute must-have priorities for us?
I think it's hard to say no to Jack Edwards. Even at the 200K, he's batting, he's bowling, he's doing both pretty well, and particularly bowling really, really well. And just going against these guys is just so risky. The guys that can both bat and bowl are just, if the game can fall for them. You say, yeah, sure, he's only batting 6, but then one of the games is a few early wickets, then all of a sudden he's into the 8th over. It does happen. It doesn't happen every time. We've seen this round, the game hasn't really fell for Stoinis, and he hasn't done so well, but there's going to be that potential, and you've got to grab a few of these guys on that potential game situation just falling in their favour.
And do you have, I'd say, a couple of potential red flags? And you're saying he's heaven and earth. I agree. I don't own him. I sold him a couple of weeks ago to free up cash to get Stoinis himself, actually. And it's worked out okay. He's obviously had the bye and didn't score that well in his single game week prior. But red flags potentially are the weather for the Sixers versus Heat in the Coffs Harbour game to start round 6. There is a reasonable chance of thunderstorms, so do make sure you're checking the bomb and the radar to make sure you're up to date on that one. That's one potential red flag that could turn that double game week into not as important if it's a half game or even worse. There's also the Sam Curran issue as well. If he's going to be joining for the second game of the double, do you see Curran joining as maybe reducing the chance of Edwards getting those 4 overs or changing his role in any way?
I think there's definitely a chance. Edwards has bowled some good overs. I wouldn't be surprised if Curran comes in and takes some of the better ones, but they also trust Jack a lot. So especially even that first game, maybe Sam Curran, they ease him in a little bit. Does he get over for that game in time? I don't think we've got any official information, even though we are expecting him over for them. There's a possibility he moves down the batting order. Sam Curran's very handy with the willow, but he's it's still probably too risky. However, if that first game is looking like it's going to be very much rained out and you scrap for cash generation, maybe there's an argument. But yeah, if the weather of that first game has to look abysmal, I think, to consider taking him on.
Well, it's funny because the first game of the year was the Sixers coming into it with big weather concerns. It was a 10-over game, and Jedwards was by far the best Supercoach player of that round and absolutely killed it with both bat and ball. So those weather things don't always pan out to have the impact that they potentially could. My prediction is that I'd say Jedwards will keep a higher batting order spot than Curran. I think he just looks so reliable for the Sixers this year with the bat in hand. I don't see why they would want to change his role there. You're right, Curran's handy. I think his main impact is as a handy bowler, and I think that he'll sit below Jedwards in the batting order, but we shall see when that comes to it. Hopefully not a big impact. So would you say, someone in my position who doesn't own, if I'm holding like a Wildermuth or a Connolly, do I say, yes, trade one of those guys to make sure I get Jedwards in my team for that double game week?
I would trade Wildermuth. I'd probably hold Connolly.
Okay.
I think the 2 players that are probably the most important on singles at the moment are Matt Short and Cooper Connolly, because they both have the great role, but in comparison to Wildermuth, they're both just such quality players that when you've got that role and that quality, they can just score 150 at any moment.
Mm-hmm. All right. So Wildermuth is a trade out now. You think you've seen a little bit of a dip in form despite that great role. You and Matt described him as having the best role in all the BBL Supercoach. You think that just the quality's not there for him at the moment and he's a good one to sell?
I think as well, we just saw in the last game, the emergence of this Balkan, this young fella, he's a cracker, and Patterson bowled really well the other night. If they're both bowling really well, then Wildermuth's the guy that's going to lose overs to the sixth bowler, to the spinner, and Renshaw bowling well as well doesn't help that either. So his role looks like it's diminishing a little bit compared to what it was a few rounds ago.
Yeah. Are there any other Sixers that you would have in that heaven and earth category or close to that heaven and earth category, or is he the main one that stands out for you?
I think Sean Abbott's an absolute no-brainer at the price. Especially
what is he, 140 odd?
140 odd, and he's just come off a huge score, so that break-even is going to be really low. He's the perfect guy to bring in for a round, flip after the round. You prefer to Overton, for example, or to an expensive Adelaide striker. I think he's, with the break even and the price, he's just, no-brainer.
So not the bowl only, no impact at all. Just get him.
No, I think just get him. He
Yep.
bowls all the best overs.
All right. Well, what about the other guys? So from the bat bowl perspective, they have Joel Davies, who is impressively hosting a 3-run average of 86. My thing, and you can tell me I'm completely wrong here, Myth, because I'm happy to be, but he's one that I see could be impacted by Curran's arrival.
Yeah, absolutely. When you bring in Curran, it's another person who's probably very, very likely to bowl 4. Then suddenly you've got Curran, Edwards, Abbott, and Dorcius all going to be really stiff to lose overs. You're going to have another pace guy in there, or potentially Chohan in there. Or not tomorrow night, but for the second game of the double. So, yeah, Joel Davies, I think he's that guy that the game has fallen for in the last recent weeks. It wouldn't surprise me if he had 2 duds on the double, but he's playing really well.
He's playing well, but is there any chance he's the man to drop out? Like, someone's going to have to give way in that team. Is there any chance it's Davies? Like, if you bring him in for the double, is there any risk involved for that second game?
I'd say it's pretty unlikely with Murphy still just running the drinks for the test squad, just because it seems like now Davies has jumped Chohan as their first choice spinner, and with his form lately, it's hard to disagree with that. And you'd think he's got at least one poor game leeway if it does happen in the first game of the double.
Okay, so you think he's not a terrible option, but you just don't back him in for that form to continue?
I'd just be looking elsewhere.
What about Flip? He is obviously wicketkeeper, batsman. He is I think the highest owned or second highest owned after Jed amongst the top 10% of super coaches. How much of a priority do you think he is? His form's been pretty hot this year, averaging over 60 points.
Yeah, he's been pretty good. I think the last 1 or 2 games haven't been great, so his BE is probably going to be relatively high. Probably got it here. No, I don't have to be there, but I imagine it's going to be pretty significant coming off a couple of low scores. And with the ownership, he's probably one if I didn't have, I'd be tempted to take on. You've got a few different options at the top of the order. Babar Azam's coming into a bit better form. Daniel Hughes has struck them a little bit reasonably lately. Even going down if you need to scrape the bottom of the bargain bin, which I'm considering myself. You've got Moises Enriques batting 4 down at 60k. So there's a few different options you could take Flip on with, I think.
Yeah. I like you. You mentioned Babar Azam and Dan Hughes. I like both of those guys as pods. So you got Babar Azam is in 2.6% of the top 10% of super coaches. Dan Hughes, 0.5%. And he's passed 20 in 3 of his 4 innings so far this year and has got a strike rate bonus in each. Thank you, producer Gramsci, for that research. I am definitely going to be taking a flyer on one of those 2 guys. I mark my words on that. I think that their ownership is fantastic. Both of them look to be an okay touch. Like you said, Babar Azam with a decent score looks like he might be finding form, even though it's been a little bit slow. I am going to take a flyer on those. If I am, I am. Which one do you think I should go with?
Oh, that's tough. I think I'd be backing the international quality. I think there's also that very slim chance that Sam Curran comes in and moves Jack Edwards up the order, that they could actually switch, and that's probably Daniel Hughes would be the one at risk there. So I'd probably take Babar Azam. I think Coffs Harbour as well, typically not a big ground. So if the pitch is similar to what we've been seeing around Australia lately, there could be a lot of runs.
He was decently owned in round 1, Babar Azam. I wonder if there's going to be a lot. And he didn't go well. He really failed for his owners at a decent, I think it was about 150k at the time. That would be one that I wonder how many people are burnt and just not willing to go back. Because I reckon if I owned in round 1, I'd be burnt and not a chance of getting back for this game. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that ownership goes. What about another one who was really popular for round 1 is Benny Dwarcius. He just isn't looking himself this season at all. Like he's averaging a touch over 30. He was one of the highest owned players in all of Supercoach for round 1. What do you make of him going into round 6? Could be he's quite cheap for the quality of play. We know he's just over 100k. Is he one that would be worth getting back in and taking a flyer on and hoping that form can reverse?
Oh, I've traded him in this week, so I bloody well hope so.
Okay, you did the week early move.
Yeah, to be able to afford Stoinis and Curran, I need to look for someone cheap. And I didn't like the Stars options below the price that I could afford, but did like Dwarshus at the price.
Yeah,
He's
okay.
still being promoted to pinch hit. He's a guy that's pretty much averaged around about 50, 55 every year in the BBL. The way I see it is he's just going to have a regression to the mean at some point, and these wickets are going to fall for him. The game's going to fall for him. He's going to connect with a few of the bats. So I think he's a good one at the price. I think there probably are better now. I think Jack Edwards and Sean Abbott are getting the better overs. So he's one you could go against. But again, for me, and for I guess a lot of other teams out there that are struggling with team value, it's hard to turn down Dwarshus at that price.
Very hard. Like, I can't believe he's that cheap. I think he's approaching must-have territory as well, just for the price tag alone and the kind of quality player we know he can be. What do you think then, Myth? How many sixes are you planning on running in your team for round 6?
The moment I'm tossing up between 4 and 5. I'm going to have a few of them. They've got a very interesting draw to finish. They go double, single, bye, double. So basically, they're useful for 3 out of the 4 rounds. So that's why I mentioned Enrique's earlier at the price. Bargain hunting, give him 4 chances on field, 2 in doubles, and then use him as a loop where you don't actually have to sell him is quite useful because someone like Jack Edwards, for a lot of us, will probably come into the side this week and then go out the following week. I know he very likely will for me. I think you can carry a few sixes at the point of the season now where you could bring in a sixer now, or you could bring in a striker, you could bring in a gate, and your likely score involvements are not going to be too different because you can't carry all these sixes through until their next double.
Well, that you're mentioning Adelaide, like that gets me thinking. Obviously, round 7, which you guys, I know you and Matt are planning on doing a pod before that big double game week in round 7 because there is both Adelaide and the Canes who are on the double game week that week. What's your ideal number for that week? Because that's obviously something people are going to have to work out as well. Like, I'm planning on using 3 trades to get sixes in this week. That'll give me 4 sixes if I've only got 1 currently in my team. That'll get me to 4. And I had the temptation of using the boost because I feel like there is a bit of value in some of these sixes, boys. But then am I leaving myself short? Like, I then might only be able to get 6 or 7 guys for that round 7 where there's 2 teams in the double. Like, how much is that in your mind? You did mention this a couple of pods ago. This was going to sneak up on people. And I remember thinking, oh, that won't happen to me. And it has. Like, I'm going to be carrying less in either this week's double for the sixes or when 2 teams have the double in round 7. So how do you think people should tackle that situation?
I think you're just picking one. You just got to look at your side, look at the options, and look at where you can get. Look at the key players you want from each of the doubles. Make sure you're getting those guys in. And then it might almost be looking at how much cash you've got left over, who you've got to trade out, and who's actually the best option that you can get. So it might be this week, if you've got 100K left over, looking at all the sixes, looking at all the strikers, looking at even all the renegades, and looking at the Hurricanes you have and go, who's the best option under 100K, and almost picking that player rather than the other person. Or if it's a sixer, can you flip one? Can you get a sixer in that's going to make value and there's a striker going down in value, for example? Because the one thing extra to that is I guarantee you, and probably 90% of our listeners have no Gades in their squad right now.
Yeah,
That's
I'll go
not
0.
real salesman. So they've got the double in round 8. You're either going to have 3 for them now. So, for example, taking 1 less striker and a Gade instead because you like the value means you're going to have the same across the doubles anyway. So we're at the point now where you can almost have a look at going, change the price, filter under 110K, who's the best option from those 4 teams because it's not going to affect how many doubles I have. So it's pick your poison. The only thing to keep in mind, I think, is the round 7 strikers and Hurricanes double, they play each other. So
that cancels out a little bit.
It just means they can't. It's hard for them all to go bang in one game. Like if you have 7 in a game, it's really difficult to get good scores out of all 7 of them. Like you look at the top 7 scores of any of the Big Bash games so far, it's not that high, that 6th, 7th score. So it does diminish the ceiling a little bit, but there's so many good quality players, particularly in the strikers for those guys that bat and bowl, your Shorts, your Scotts, your Overtons, and then their pace bowlers. So pick your poison, pick your team and back them in, basically.
So don't just when you're drafting your team for this week, you're not just looking at this week. You're looking at the next 3 weeks and trying to figure out what's the best value and what's the best option for Myth on there.
Correct. Yeah. So I'm also looking at who I can get out of my side. As I said, I've got poor team value. So I was filtering below 60, 70, 80K. And from those
Hence
3
why
or 4 teams.
Moses came up. Moses on Reese came
Hence why
up.
Moses has come up because I'm going, who is genuinely the best from all these teams? I don't care who it is. Who is the best from those teams at that price that I can get? And yeah, he's one that come up. And whether or not he ends up in my side, whether I can stomach having him sitting there on field, I'm not sure, but that'll be a decision to be made in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, that to me, and you're the expert, I'm not, but that to me, Moses, like I actually looked at getting him this week for the same thing. I was after a guy who was cheap and that would open up that value to get Harper, which I didn't end up doing and wish I did now. But I looked at him and I just thought, he's not bowling. He's not scoring at a quick clip. He's not one of these guys who can come out and bang at 150. I don't think he's ever got a century in Big Bash. Like, he's not that kind of guy. So I was just thinking, is he that price for a reason? Which is why I didn't end up going it. But I don't know. To me, it's that trap of falling into, are you getting someone because they're on the double, or are you just getting him for the sake of it? Like, is there actually any value to getting a guy who's in a double game week like him?
Yeah. A lot of the times, that's not.
Yeah. Like with Rogers this week. Yeah. Same thing.
Exactly. Look, Enriquez is basically, as far as I can remember, he started the season at somewhere between 90 and 110, 120K.
Oh, it's a bit of value.
He's had 8 or 9 average knocks, and he has 3 or 4 good knocks, or one what might be a quick 20, and then a couple others where he's 25 off 20 balls, and then all of a sudden he's 60 off 35 type of thing. They're the kind of knocks he's got in his stock. Whether or not he can do that, he's coming to the end of his career. It's bargain hunting. He's not got a good role. He doesn't offer both bat and ball. He doesn't field in hot spots. But I think a lot of people have been hurt by that team value early with those Canes dropping. I know I'm in that boat, so I'm looking for these cheap guys. I think I looked at Hassan Khan as well. He might be a little bit more expensive now. He's going to probably go up a little bit this week. But just looking at these outside the box options just to afford it might have to happen a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Well, Myth, I would be interested in knowing, of these Sixers boys, who is your captain that you're looking at putting the C on? Obviously, Jedward is going to be the most popular VC/captain, whatever way you want to look at it. He's going to be the man that people are picking. Outside of Jedward, who would you say is the big guy to take him on potentially?
If I was going to take him on, if I was going to take a punt, I'd be very tempted by Dwarshuis.
Is that just to no one to do it, and he's due for a bounce back at some point?
Pretty much. I don't think people are going to captain him. He can have that quick 20, so I think he's quite appealing. I couldn't talk anyone out if they were confident Abbott was the guy.
Yeah,
he can as well. Like, I think there are some options to take him on.
Are you going to do it?
See where I'm ranked at the moment. I kind of just want to target getting to that top 1K. If I feel as though I can just play the straight bat for a couple more rounds to get inside there, I will. If I feel as though I've fallen a bit too far back and I need a punt, I'll probably take it on.
All right, nice. I like the Abbott call, actually, because he's one of these guys who, when you watch, he just looks a class above BBL. Like, he just stands out, almost like that men amongst boys stuff. So I like that kind of player for a sneaky VC if the ownership, if the percentage is low.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Mate, our baller moves segment for this week. What I want to hear from you for this segment, Myth, is we mentioned a few of these strikers, boys. You mentioned Overton in particular as a potential option. If you were to move early on one striker this week, who would it be at this point? Like, would it be an Overton? Will we look at Luke Wood, Liam Scott? Who are you thinking is the best one value-wise to get on early?
I would love to say Joseph Wadia, but I don't think he's quite got the role. It would be Overton. I think he seems to have just done it in one facet a lot so far this season. He might have done it in both in round one, but he's just such good. He's so good with the bat, gets such good overs, fields in hot spots. The game can just fall for him. other one, if you can't quite get up to him, we saw it fall for Liam Scott the other day. He's probably the other one I'd be tempted on.
All right, Myth, we just took a little pause there after you finished us up on that early strikers chat just to watch the end of that game, the Melbourne Derby, and Stoinis getting that last over and just getting tonked around by Big Sutherland was not a good sight for those Stoinis VCs, was it?
No, it would have been nice to just take a wicket there, go across the 3-digit mark for the skipper, but I know you're still locked in that VC.
Yeah, I mean, there'll be people who won't though now. There'll be people who take that on, but we'll see how it all pans out. It's an awkward score, that's for sure. Myth, we're going to play a little game with some of the more popular Supercoach players. Matt and I debuted this one last week. This is the traffic light game. And this is where I'm going to say a well-owned, relevant Supercoach player. And you're going to rank them as either red light, green light, or orange. Green means you think that they are a keeper. People should not look to trade them out of their team. Orange means you're unsure, you're on the fence, you can make a case either way. And red means you think they are just a clear sell, move them on out of your team. That all makes sense and it's clear?
Yep.
Beautiful. Let's start with one that I am putting out as a red light. He's going to be the first man sold from this team. You can call it frustration. You can call it a rage trade, but that is Glenn the Big Show Maxwell. He's going to be the first man I click trade on this week. What are your thoughts on that call? Where do you rank him?
I've got him as an orange light. I can see either way. This is still Glenn Maxwell. This is still a guy that bats and bowls, that can have the game fall for him, that, yes, has been out of form, but only not that long ago had that 39 off 20 where he looks invincible. He can still do it, but I wouldn't begrudge anyone selling him. He just doesn't. He's just been really frustrating.
He's been frustrating, and there's definitely a bit of raginess in it. But also, like, his price is decent. Like, we don't have, obviously, exactly what he's going to be priced at into coming the next game, but he was 150K coming into this week. Like, there's a bit of cash there, and I feel like I could get someone like turn him into Abbott, and it's almost like free, and you get the double game week player. So for me, that's just why I think that that's the decision I'll make. But you're right, he is a class player, and it is one that the second you sell him, he could come back and hurt you pretty easy. Hey, that's how it usually works.
Yeah, and he's done that to me before, and I've seen him do this before. He is the biggest rocks of diamonds in all of Supercoach, despite quite often one of the better roles.
What about his teammate, the man with arguably the best hair in all of Big Bash, Marcus Stoinis? What do you think from him?
Best hair, best arms as well. He's up there in a few different
best eyes. You can just keep going.
He's got a bit going for him, doesn't he? A bit unfair, I think. He's a green light for me. We just saw him bowl the 20th over. He is in good form with the bat. He got out through a ridiculous shot tonight. That was probably a bit of bad luck too. Yeah, he's a very strong green light for me.
Green light, agreed. What about 41-year-old bleach blonde hair, banana eating Peter Siddle?
You know, I have him as yellow as well. I'm going to sell just simply because I need his cash. But if you had good team value, I think there are worse guys to hold as a pod. Stars are playing pretty good cricket. He's bowling phenomenally. He's getting the best overs. I think we're going to see his ownership just completely dwindle now. And there's going to be a few single game week players left. He's not the worst guy to hold, but I'd be definitely not green. I'd be orange. Yeah, I think you could make a case to hold.
Can I have a quick rant for a moment, Myth?
Go on.
You can indulge me in a rant. What about, like, we were talking in the green room pre-pod about the quality of fielding in the Big Bash this year and how it's actually been really disappointing. There's been some high highs. We've seen some good ones from the likes of the Big Show earlier this year. But I reckon the quality of fielding this year and some of the effort I see some of these guys put in the outfield for some of these wider balls has been really, really poor. But then you have 41-year-old Pete Siddle, who is like throwing himself around the field. Like, he's a man who's got nothing really to prove, nothing to, like, what's he owe Australian cricket? He's done plenty. But he's constantly putting his body on the line. And some of these younger guys and some of the international players are just like really lethargic in the field. That's not normal for Big Bash, surely.
Yeah, I was mentioning, I think the quality has been a lot lower compared to previous seasons. It seems like there's been a lot more drop catches. It seems like there's been a lot more misfields on the boundary. People just in the wrong spot, a little bit too far in off the rope, a little bit not ready for it. It's felt like there's been a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, it's been interesting. What about Sam Harper? Like, surely he's a red light. I guess the break even's probably still going to be fairly low, so there might still be a little bit more juice you can squeeze from the lemon. But I don't know. He's got to be one you're looking. You have an end game in sight, surely, for Sammy Harper.
Yeah, I've talked him down all season. I'm just not going to stop now. I've made my bed. I'm going to sleep in it. So I'm going to say red light for Sammy Harper.
Love it.
You've caught the lightning in a bottle, not once but twice with Sam Harper for a guy that's typically struggled in the Big Bash. Take that luck and run. You're going to be able to cash out for over 150K. He's not worth that price. I would be dumping and running.
And you're not ever playing him with any confidence either. Like,
No,
way.
but apparently you can at the moment.
Yeah, true. What about Harris Ralph?
Yeah, red light for me.
Sell?
I think, yeah, there's a lot of cash there. No doubles to come. Yeah, I think, again, he's pretty similar to Siddle. I just think Siddle being slightly cheaper can put him into that yellow light, but I think Ralph at the price is red.
And the last three, start you off just quick fire. What about Swepson? Surely red light.
I think you have cash to make now. I think
true.
I think red light if you need his spot on field, green light if you can just hold him and just sit him on the pine.
Yeah. And obviously a man who's been in quite good touch, Tommy Curran, who you were saying should have probably got that death over, that final over in the game tonight, but didn't. Tommy Curran, he's going to be, pretty decent price tag attached to Tommy Curran now. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's in the orange camp. I think the thing that flipped at me, he batted very well today and got most of his points from that. So he did show that while he's got that all-round availability in Supercoach. I'm going to sell personally, but he's another one that if you can hold him, if you've got that team value flying, that's just a big part now. If you've got that team value up, you can hold these guys that are worth a little bit more as your pods on single game weeks compared to other people that might be really having to hold someone more like a Brody Couch or a Marley Beardman through some of these early rounds.
Yeah. Who you're still holding, aren't you, Beardman?
Yeah, but that'll be fine after his forfeit tonight.
I like it, little speak it into existence. The beautiful thing is there that people listening to this will know whether you're right or when you're wrong, because I sold him this week, so I'm hoping you're wrong. No offense, Smith. Campbell Kellaway, he was one who was cheap coming into this week. His break even is going to be nice now after a couple of decent scores. He's about 85K. Again, I'm assuming you have him as like a situational man.
Yeah, same one as Swepson. If you can bench him. If not, sell him.
And last one I'm chucking in is not in the run sheet because it's relevant for me. I mentioned him earlier. Old Hunt for the Wilder people himself, Woodermouth. What do we have for him? Do you have him as a red, green, or orange?
I still have him as orange. Just because
just the roll?
he's still opening, he's still bowling. He didn't bowl well the other night, and the other young boys bowled very well, but that's not guaranteed to continue. But it looks like that role's in a little bit more danger. But still batting and bowling, again, that's a team value one. There are going to be teams out there that are going to be able to put up a Wildermouth against a Brody Couch, and that's going to be, or a Mitch Marsh even, and that's just could be such a huge advantage. So if you've got the cash, you've got the team value, I'd hold on to him. But if you don't, yeah, part ways. There are better high-priced assets to have.
All right, well, Myth, that pretty much brings us out to a close for tonight. I think we've done a pretty good job of sticking with Marcus short and sharp as we've come into this ep and hopefully hit the big talking points for people coming into round 6. Just a bit of a teaser. The next episode is going to be coming out on Thursday or recorded on Thursday. It's going to be just ahead of that big, very important double game week for both the Canes and the Strikers. So that's going to be a huge one. It's going to be you. It's going to be Maddie. It's the A-team back together again. So definitely people need to be getting around with that as we head into kind of the big important wind-up to the Big Bash season. Myth, mate, very much appreciate for you coming on and joining us tonight. It's been great to pick your brain as one of the foremost experts in BBL SuperCoach, and thank you so much for your time.
No, happy to be here.
Mate, do you want to bring us out with a big baller closing? I think it's the first time you've been thrown to do those two famous words into the pod. Let's hear it from you.
You beauty.
I love that, you beauty. That's good. It's fun to say, you beauty.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.